that one out nice and well, being up this early in the morning. But we are here with the Tournament Takes podcast. We're doing an early edition for Week 7, 10 games, and this is on me, guys. Hand up, it's my fault that every year we do one of my friends who passed away a while ago, we do a memorial golf tournament one weekend every year. So I got to go play golf tomorrow morning in the cold. So we had to reschedule the show. Thank you, Noto, for being up here for 7:30 a.m. And Beer, I know it's tough on you because you're probably all depressed with your head down because the Brewers have lost 2 in a row here. But thank you for joining us. We're going to have a good show. Oh, 3 in a row. Sorry. My fault. Early morning as is. Anyways, we are here. Week 7, 10 games. How we doing, boys? Good morning. Beer, how are you?
Good, man. So, we're getting a little early start here on things. Never a bad thing to give people a little extra time to consume the video. And looks like another fun week of games, with buys and London and Monday night. I like the 2-game Monday nighters. I know we're not talking Monday. I don't like when it's separated like this and
at 10 o'clock,
10 Eastern start. I mean, you're talking 1 a.m. for me, and old man don't like staying up that late. But this slate does look fun. We are not going to talk about my Brewers. Didn't think they'd beat the Dodgers, but was hoping they'd at least put up a fight, and that just ain't happening. So let's forget baseball. How are you guys this morning? Let's talk some football.
No. Good morning, my man. Oh, there we go. We got mute. We got one first mute. Yep.
Classic.
Out of the way.
Hey, 7:30 my time. Cut me some slack. But bright and early. We got John Easy already in the chat. Richie Smalls in the chat. So glad you guys made it out. It's hard to find the time with all 3 of us having kids to, rearrange the show. That was a lot of messages there in our Slack.
I know. It used to be like, I can do whenever. I can do it whenever. I can do whenever. I can do whenever. And now it's like, I can do 9:30 to 10:30.
Got these 2 hours. That's about it.
Chat, thanks for being here. I lost my bet. I said not even Don Yeezy's going to make it for this one in the morning. I was wrong. I should have known better.
I had faith. Don Yeezy, I said he will be here.
Beer said lock it in. Beer said lock it in.
Lock of the century. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, Richie Smalls, what up? Let's talk about this slate. First, let me get out the ad reads real quickly here on RotoGrinders. We got the 3-day pass promo still going on. Want to try NFL DFS tools without a full season commitment? For a limited time, get half off a 3-day NFL pass and access to everything you need to crush the slate this weekend. You'll get our optimizer tool, lineup HQ, packed with player projections, ownership projections, a lot more. You'll also get Sims Labs NFL, the easiest way to build smart competitive lineups in just a few clicks. All that and more for only $9.99. That's pretty cheap. So don't miss your chance to get a serious edge this week. Also, if you want to get the Combo Pro Pass, get it going. You like what we have over here. Looking to get into NFL DFS access. So why not get more bang for your buck with Combo Pro deal? Limited time. You can get your first month of Combo Pro for just $79.99. That's only $5 more than NFL DFS monthly subscription. So don't pass up this elite value. All right. Good stuff out of the way. Let's talk about the slate here. First off, how did we do last week? It was pretty rough for me because of Steph Diggs. And I don't know if you guys watched that game, but the officiating, there was some official that just hated him, and he called 2 egregious penalties, one on like a 60-yard catch he made that was beautiful. He cost me some dough, and my main lineup on DK, I got crushed, but all my secondary line, like second and third lineups, were good. So it wasn't so bad, but it's always the wrong lineup on the one main lineup. But how do we do, Noto?
Yeah, close to a big week. My main lineup was looking great, and then Egbuka got hurt. Ended up playing him over JSN, which cost me just a ton of money. Everything else crushed. So it's hard to complain about a profitable week, but it was barely profitable rather than really profitable.
Yeah, I played Egbuka over. I had JSN, but I played him over Puka. And I was like, okay, I'm like counting the money, once he went down, and then Egbuka got it too. So I deserved that. But how'd we do, Beer?
Great week. Certainly had some misses with Diggs, but we gave you Keyshawn Booty last week, so had some pairings with May that worked out. Ton of Josh Jacobs, ton of Rico Dowdle. Definitely some misses in there. I was on Ibuka as well. That one certainly hurt. Diggs was a letdown, but all in all, another profitable week. And like we keep saying, it feels like we're close. We're all putting together good lineups. Now it's just putting the puzzle all together. Let's hope it happens here in week 7.
You know what we missed? So we went with the he's one of us, Calvin Ridley, and he got hurt, right?
Yeah.
It was all the time. It was Booty. He's
Yep.
one of us. He was the one. He missed what? He had like 899 bets or something that he got in trouble for,
Yep.
and yeah. So I knew it was one of us would take us to the promised land. I picked the wrong one. It was staring us right in the face the whole time.
We
brought
talked
him up.
about the homecoming narrative. He was from
hometown.
Louisiana.
Yeah,
played
but
at LSU.
I know, and I was staring me in the face, but I just didn't plug him in. And I'm a Pats homer too, so it's terrible. But good call by you guys. All right, so we got 10 games. We've got basically 3 tiers for totals on the high end. We got one game that fully stands out, which is Washington at Dallas. That's been the cheat code. Just go against Dallas. Plug your players in against Dallas defense, and their offense has been, sizzling, even without Lamb. And Lamb is supposed to be back this week, correct?
Yeah, sounds like he's
full systems go there. Washington, tough loss to the Bears, just an egregious fumble, and they let the Bears take that one. They should be back, minding their P's and Q's this week, and their offense looks good, and they're getting McLaurin back. So this has shootout all over, 54.5 point total. Then the next game is the Colts, who are just good. It's crazy that Daniel Jones, the country club kid, I got to finally start backing this guy because he's on a good team. He's playing good ball, and they are playing against the Chargers, who have their offensive line and some defensive line issues, but their offense is still was humming this last week, and this has a 48.5 point total. It's at LA, so that game could be pretty good. And then there's this other tier here, which is the New Orleans at Chicago. Chicago 5-point favorites coming off of that big win, and they've had a few in a row now, looking pretty good. Rome Odunze probably gets a bump up in this game because DJ Moore. Do we have what do we know about his injury? It's a hamstring or a groin. What is it? Anybody know?
I know that he is still questionable.
Yeah.
I forget the exact injury. So, and McLaurin is still questionable as well. Just want to throw that out there. He's no sure thing to return. So, Moore is a hip and a groin.
Unconfirmed reports that DJ Moore just hurt his nuts really, really badly.
Wow.
And that's why he had to stay in the hospital overnight.
We can all understand that one. So
I can all relate to that. I remember playing 7th grade basketball with my first real thing, and someone went up to get a rebound and just punched me and I was just gone, and I couldn't walk. I couldn't. It was just horrendous. We got to protect those at all. Protect the family jewels at all costs. All right, so then that New Orleans game, it's interesting from each side. New Orleans playing a little bit better too. So we'll see how that game ends up if we like plays there. Then we got the Raiders back. KC looking like the squad again. They put that Jacksonville loss behind them. They're clicking, and now they get Rashee Rice back, who should be a full go, and if that's the case, he did get injured. He is coming back from a long-term injury, but not really, because he was ready to go at the beginning of the season, but he has that suspension. So he's been practicing with the team, been around the team, and they're saying it's a full go, and he's just mispriced on DraftKings. So it'll be interesting how we're going to attack that. And then Green Bay against Arizona. That is a 45-point total, and then a bunch of other games that we'll just pick plays from. But those are kind of the tiers. I'll just quickly mention that the Blitz most plays, like I always do. It's got New Orleans at Chicago. Cardi's got the Giants at Denver and Washington at Dallas. And then over on ETR, the Up and Pace article they do, They just listed 2 this week: Washington at Dallas and New Orleans at Chicago. So those are the key games. Washington, the LA Chargers, and then the Bear looks like the Bears New Orleans game. All right, big picture overview from you, Noto. Anything standing out to you on the slate before we get cranking here?
I mean, it looks like ownership's going to be more spread out than usual. We have 10 running backs between 14 and 28%. All the wide receivers are pretty spread out too. We don't have like an obvious wide receiver spend like we have with Puka and JSN the first 6 weeks of the season. So it should be fun to make lineups. You can do it pretty easily, although I found my lineups don't look as good this week just because there are fewer options. We got the London game, the 2 games on Monday night, a couple buys too. And one thing I would love to see is more 40-year-old quarterbacks. How great was that game last night?
Insane.
Yeah, it was incredible.
I was shocked. Like, I thought it was going to be an ugly, nasty game. I think everyone kind of expected that, but both of them guys look good.
I mean, I give too much credit to the Pitt defense. Like, I sat there, I'm like, Porter, Slay, and Ramsey. I'm like, that's on paper, that's pretty good, you know. And they couldn't stop Chase or Higgins at all. So it was a crazy game. It was good to see Flacco do well, and it was just crazy overall. Like a lot of points, a lot of scoring.
Rodgers
hit my first hit. I finally hit a first TD bet.
Me too, brother.
Johnny Smith. Like finally, you know.
And that, you know, those tight ends can be confusing, but there was a little narrative. I don't know if you saw that. His brother, I guess, is incarcerated in the Pittsburgh area, so coming back there, and so, you know, that helped kind of nudge me in that direction. But
how did I not know about the prison narrative?
The brother prison narrative.
Gotta know the prison narrative.
You got to speak up. You got to hit us in the Slack.
Well, I mean, it's a great narrative when it works. You know, John, who does what he's done most of the season. That narrative sucks.
I also was toying around with him in anytime for Noah Fant, anytime TD parlay, and I just did an over on yards, and so it didn't pay quite as well. It was good night.
The tight ends crush again. The tight ends on showdown slates are just incredible. I mean, all 3 of Pittsburgh's tight ends put up huge numbers. Right, 5 touchdown tight ends.
Island games, and don't forget, whenever it's National Tight End Week, make sure you tell me you guys look out for it, because that was the easiest.
Next week.
Okay, get your
next week.
When the lines are posted, we're going to be doing touchdown props and parlays. That's when we're gonna hit. I'll never miss that. After last year, it was like every tight end was like touchdown. You get a touchdown. All right, Beer, what's sticking out to you? Anything?
Yeah, Rashee Rice is an interesting talking point that we'll get to. I think he's underpriced. You know, we know he wants to come in and dominate coming off suspension. Do they just unleash him? Do they hold him back at all? So we'll discuss that at wide receiver. Jaden Daniels, probably the highest owned quarterback on the season. I think he could approach 20%, it looks like. And then a couple weather spots to keep an eye on as well in Chicago and Cleveland mainly. You know, their forecasting could be winds up to 50 miles an hour in that game. So Roth seems to think most of the heavy winds are before and after the game, but and it's a little early to project now. Just want to put it on everybody's radar. Those 2 games, rainy, but mostly the concern if there's high winds in either of those games. Well,
it's been a long time since baseball's been cooling down. We need to be able to blame Roth for something this weekend, right? You know, it's always fun when you can push the blame onto Roth, say Roth buried me. So look out for that. Just kidding. He's a good sport about everything, and is the man with weather. All right, this is what we'll do. Like we always do, is we'll talk running backs first. We'll then talk some QBs, then align that with our wide receivers for our favorite stacks. We'll talk some tight end, talk some defense, and build a lineup and call it a show. And all right, let's give it a start here. So from an ownership perspective, it looks like to me that we're going to get Javonte Williams is going to be high owned after coming off of a dud against in the last game with the monster total against Carolina. And Carolina rush defense has been better. I still have that bias in my head how bad they've been for years. So it made sense that he didn't have such a great game. It was also he did underperform. It just wasn't his night. But this is certainly a good matchup against Washington. A lot of running backs have absolutely smashed Washington's D. Then we've got Breece Hall. Garrett Wilson is out, and he's got the full backfield to himself. Going to be the focal point of the offense in facing Carolina. So I'm interested to hear your guys' take on that. Judkins is going to be pretty popular, and that's because it's plug in anybody against Miami. But he's from a usage perspective, he still is like a 50% running back here. So he's not a every down, full bell cow. So that's interesting, but he is only 6K. Jonathan Taylor, best running back in the league. Not much to say there. Price has gone up now, 8,800, but still can find ways to play him. Achane, coming off of a monster game, 34 fantasy points, just kept going against that Chargers D. It's been a little bit decimated. And then DeAndre Swift back from the dead with that one run that absolutely nuked me in the showdown slate because I didn't play him and the 2-gamer. But he's back in our lives. Vidal, it looked like the man. Good call. Last week, you guys talking about Vidal. And I don't know. Who do you like the most? Who the key personnel? Is the key personnel up yet, Noto?
Yeah, it's up. I have Jonathan Taylor tagged. You mentioned the high price point, but the dude's just getting so many touches and one of the best offenses in the NFL, averaging 24.5 opportunities. Chargers, like we think of them as having a great defense, but they're 24th in EPA against the run. So I think it's still a pretty good spot for him. He's been pretty involved in the passing game, and anytime they get inside the 5, they just hand him the ball. He's had 7 rushing touchdowns in the last 4 games alone. I also like Javonte Williams. You mentioned the dud last week. Not too worried about it. It gives you access to that Dallas game. I love the Washington side, so I think my favorite way to bring it back is with Javonte, just because I don't really know how the targets are going to get distributed with CeeDee Lamb back. So those 2 are my favorites, but man, there are a lot of good running back plays this week. Josh Jacobs in another great matchup. I wish I would have been higher on him last week. It was so obvious, like a smash spot against Cincy. But he gets another good spot against the Cardinals. I think JCM's interesting in that Dallas game. You can either pair him up with Jaden Daniels or play him like this sort of leverage off of Jaden Daniels, who I do think is going to be the most popular quarterback. I like Saquon Barkley a little bit. I do, man. The Eagles are starting to run the tush push from like the 4-yard line now, which is just really frustrating.
Annoying. It's so annoying.
But man, it doesn't feel like anybody's going to play him. Minnesota's run defense is not very good. I like that one. The guy that I don't know what to do with is Breece Hall. He's projecting it's like the highest owned in a couple places, and I just don't know if I want to trust anything on the Jets right now.
Yeah, the Jets have cost me more money than any team ever in football, and now there's some like family things in that. Like I have my uncle who taught me to gamble when I was a kid. It was like always bet on the Jets. He told me, and there was family reasons, but yeah, it was the worst thing. So I always, whenever they start to have like a good roster or like they're close to making playoffs, or I start like getting that always bet on the Jets, and then it just costs me again. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong for the Jets. You can guarantee that. So but he should get a ton of volume, and he is absolutely a massive talent, and they've got a good line. So yeah, it's a tough call, but we've got a ton of options. What are you thinking, Beer?
I'm thinking your uncle hates you. That's what I'm thinking.
So I was saying that to my mom. My mom goes, "Here you go. Never bet on the Jets." She's like,
"There you go.
You say
always listen to mom.
Never bet on the Jets."
Mom always knows. So Noto hit on a few of my points, and the chat actually hit on something I wanted to bring up as well. Breece Hall is the chalkiest running back. I think I don't want much to do with that in tournaments. There's so many good options at this position each and every week. I understand why he's rating out as good as he is, but I'm okay going in a different direction. Even avoiding Javonte, I think you can avoid this top tier of ownership pretty easily. So On my list this week, Jacobs again. Noto brought him up. Arizona bottom 10 in fantasy points allowed in the running back position. He's had that Q tag. It's an illness, so I think he'll be fine this week. Really do like Saquon this week, and I get the concerns, but it's actually a good matchup, and it's a good matchup on both sides. We think of this as good defenses. Jordan Mason's in a great spot here. This Philadelphia run defense, over 100 rushing yards allowed every single game on the season. We saw what Scadabo and the boys did to him. So Jordan Mason, one of my favorite running backs this week. Saquon, if he's going to be low owned, that big game is coming. I'd rather be there before it hits, and then everybody's on him. So he's on my list. Really like Judkins, and in the chat they brought it up. I believe it was Don Yeezy. His rushing prop is sitting at 93.5, 95.5. I mean,
wild,
higher than Jonathan Taylor's prop. So just a smash spot here, especially if the weather is going to be an issue. They're going to run the ball a ton. So even 50% of a ton of carries in a windy game against this Miami defense, I think could be super valuable this weekend. I really like JCM. Yes, last week was a disaster, but 18 touches. We're starting to see him take over this backfield. If everyone's going to be on Jaden Daniels, he's going to have ownership, but maybe not high enough on him. And then a super loan off the grid play. Mason is one. Ramondre Stevenson. And I'm a Travion truther, but it just does not seem like they want to give this guy a ton of work. I think they're both playable. It's a very good matchup here. We have some revenge narrative here as well, but Ramondre is still getting the majority of the work, and this team has not stopped the run at all. So Ramondre, Mason, kind of the off-the-radar plays on the low, and then Saquon and Jacobs. If they're going to be lower owned than some of these guys, I think they're phenomenal tournament options.
I have huge faith that New England is going to blow out Tennessee for Vrabel.
Oh, yeah.
And they are going to run the score up. And Ramondre is definitely going to hit the end zone for sure, in my opinion. Why don't we like Rico Dowdle this week?
I mean, Chuba's back.
Yeah, what's the breakdown going to be? I mean, I don't see how they go away from Rico Dowdle. Yes, Chuba's
so
been great for you,
good.
but
He's good.
I mean, he's phenomenal. He's never looked this good. He looks explosive. He looks decisive. I mean, he had that extra revenge narrative on his mind against Dallas, but to put up 200 yards in back-to-back weeks, you just don't see that very often. So he could be interesting. The price is up and everyone's not sure what the backfield's going to look like. Those murky situations can be profitable. So there's concern if it is a split backfield, but very interesting nonetheless.
I mean, it's an easy fade, right? Like when you're thinking about it, and his price went up, Chuba's coming back, but he's so good, and he may have just earned, and Chuba may not be fully ready. We don't know. So, like you said, he with low ownership, and if he smashes the slate again, that could be massive. All right. What about Cam Scadabo? Any interest there?
I love the dude. I can't play him this week.
I love that he walks around. He's got fully iced out. Have you seen his chain that says Scadabo on it? Crazy. He's like the king of New York all of a sudden. Love to see it. All right. Anybody else we're looking at?
DeAndre Swift coming off the big game. If that game, Beer mentioned the weather, could be an issue there. So as long as he's good to go, I think he's interesting against the Saints. That's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, he's cheap. He's that huge run was massive for them. He got 14 rushing attempts, over 100 yards. Did that through the pass, had his touchdown through the pass. So I could get just the price there kind of stands out in the matchup. So I wouldn't feel bad plugging him in for a little salary savings. We kind of do need some savings some places this week. All right, let's move it on over to quarterback. Beer, I'll let you start with your favorites. We've got Jaden Daniels, Pat Mahomes, who's clicking on all cylinders and gets his main weapon back now. Caleb's running a little bit, looked good in that win. Even though it was a lucky win, but they were playing competitive ball. There's Herbert, there's Hurts, there's Jones, there's my boy Drake, there's Dak. no shortage of options here. What are you thinking?
I mean, Jaden Daniels clearly the top option, but that's going to come again with 20% ownership in tournaments. So I'm going to have some, but I will be under the field on that. I like going the other side of that game. Dak is my favorite quarterback this week. I mean, when he's at home, you can go back. I went back even to 2023. He has put up basically 300 passing yards, multiple touchdowns in like 10 of his last 11 home games. So don't like to put a ton of weight in these splits, but this offense is just so much better at home. Now you get CeeDee Lamb back, and he's in the MVP conversation. Yet every week we're on here, and Dak is showing low ownership. So it's an easy way to kind of get different in that game is just go to the other side and play Dak and pair him up with whoever you want. I think all of them are viable. So really like him this week. I like both sides of this Saints Bears game. Caleb's been playing great, moving the ball. We got to give Spencer Rattler some credit, man. He's been playing. He's been balling. His rushing prop is a weekly bet for me, so he adds that on the ground. And this is not a good Chicago defense. I mean, they give up a ton of fantasy points, fourth most on DraftKings this season. So both sides of that one are in play. Mahomes, just one cautionary stat. Last 5 games against the Raiders, he's only gone over 20 DraftKings points once. And if you think back, the Raiders have played this team very tough. I think the Raiders have covered 4 or 5 in a row against the Chiefs. So just one little, wet blanket on Mahomes. But one more tournament play I like that's going to get no ownership is Bo Nix against the Giants. It's only a matter of time before he clicks, before this offense starts to get it going. He's been bad. The numbers are bad. Everything looks bad for Bo Nix. That's going to lead to 2-3% ownership. Clear stacking partners in a good matchup with the Giants. I think he's an awesome tournament play. But Dak, certainly my favorite quarterback and the guy I'll have the most of this week.
I love Mahomes, even though you're a little nugget
just
there.
A little, yep. Doesn't mean don't play him. Just a little nugget.
I mean, he's
fact
that
great.
He has his rushing attempts he went up to 10 rushes now, and it's like he keeps running, so he's a threat from everywhere, and he's got all his weapons. So I think he's just going to be lighting it up. And the Raiders are a pass funnel, so and it's also pretty, with Rice. Yeah, everyone's going to be playing Rice, so you're going to have to add some to the stack. So you can throw in Worthy. That's very easy to do. You can, take whoever you want with him. So I would definitely do at least a double stack with him, and then we'll figure out who we're going to take on the other side. We didn't mention Jainty, kind of because of the fact that the game script that he's going to be trailing. But Jainty, you guys didn't mention him, right? He had like 23 carries last week, I think.
I did not bring him up this week. Don't love the spot for him, but we know the upside's there, low ownership, so I can't blame anybody that wants to play him. I probably won't have a ton this week.
Yeah. All right, Noto.
Yeah, agree on Mahomes. Like everything kind of sets up great for him on paper, but I just have this gut feeling that the score is going to come on the ground. I don't know. I just think Mahomes is going to underwhelm here. So I'm probably with Beer on that one. I'm going to play a ton of Jaden Daniels. He was dealing with that knee injury, but since coming back, he's had 18 rushing attempts in the last 2 games. Gets the matchup against Dallas, who's given up career games to basically every quarterback that they've faced so far this season. So love Jaden Daniels. Don't mind Dak on the other side of that one. The only other guy that you guys haven't brought up, at least in the quarterback conversation, is Drake May. You mentioned, going up against Vrabel's former team. The dude's been balling all season. I think he's not projecting as well as some of the other guys, so he could get some lower ownership. And he had a huge first half last week against the Saints, ended up, I think, with about 30 fantasy points. So, yeah, I like May. I like Daniels. Caleb Williams, I'll wait and see on the weather there, but he's a guy with the rushing floor. He's been better from a fantasy standpoint than he has been in real life. He's good when he's not under pressure. New Orleans doesn't get any pressure on the quarterback. So I do like Williams. But it's hard to find guys that, I don't know, are going to be low on. Maybe Jacoby Brissett, if he gets the start, is he the key that unlocks his Arizona offense?
He's interesting. There was a question in the chat, is Kyler playing this week? Kyler was limited in practice. It sounded like he was working with practice squad receivers, though. So it was not a good sign for him. Don Easy asked about Caleb. Definitely brought him up. Definitely have a lot of interest in both sides of that game. And yeah, Brissett's interesting. I mean, he hell of a game last week, and we'll see if they get Marvin Harrison back. But yeah, he could be, especially if Green Bay puts it on him, they're going to have to respond and put the ball in the air.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Drake is going to nuke. So if he's going to be like kind of just that friend, like he's like projecting from an ownership to be like 7th this week, then giddy up for sure. Dak's down there too. I know Beer likes that. I like Dak too. I mean, it's tough not to like that game. All right. Any other like crazy? Anybody else crazier than Brissett? Maybe. How about Jordan Love?
Yeah, he's interesting for sure. I
I
like
do
Knicks. It's a little bit better, cheaper. Daniel Jones, if he's going to be loaned. Chargers have given up a lot of production on the ground, so he could be interesting as well.
And Knicks possibly is cheap,
Oh, yeah.
and the
Like
Giants are playing fast now, so that
We're
could be a
getting
little
Jackson Dart questions, so I worry a little bit about the matchup, but this Denver D has not been as good as advertised, so he's playing with a lot of moxie, a lot of confidence right now.
Yeah, he's and a good call. You had us on the right path with Bryce Young, even though he absolutely sucks. He still got there in fantasy last week, Noto. So that was a good call.
Play anyone against Dallas.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. How low can you go? Well, we went there. All right, let's talk about wide receivers. We've got the mispriced Rashee Rice leading the way. 5,600 is just insane. This dude was an absolute baller and had great chemistry with Mahomes. We haven't seen him back since early last season, but his first 3 games were like 20 fantasy points, 18 fantasy points, 32 fantasy points. Had 14 targets in the game right before he went down. So, and they're saying that he's going to have a heavy workload. So giddy up. This price is ridiculous. Just play him and figure out other ways, in my opinion.
How do they land on this price, by the way? You know this guy's coming back. We know when he's coming back. It's just, I don't get it sometimes.
And it's DraftKings. DraftKings is
compare.
usually better about this. It's FanDuel, I would have thought,
He wasn't in the player pool on FanDuel, so at least
they couldn't
they had
mess
him in
up.
there. So bad.
Olave, well, they're saying he's got a hip issue now. Maybe that chair's getting up.
I think he's good to go. I saw a report. He's good to go.
Yeah, but just warn you might see him sitting in his chair.
Well, we know that's coming.
He'll be there, yeah.
Heating up the chair for him. Debo also dinged up a little bit, but should be good to go. CeeDee Lamb. So obviously those are the main pieces of the Dallas-Washington game that people are going to like. Can we play Diggs? AJ Brown, an unhappy AJ Brown. Justin Jefferson's back in our lives. That Philly game could go either way. It could be awful in my opinion. It could be they could just go back and forth. So definitely want some pieces. Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey got there last week, and it looks like a phenomenal play. And he got 9 targets and stuff, but like he got that touchdown on a penalty. Like he didn't have to get there. And now Quentin Johnson's he's coming back, right?
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
And I really like Quentin a lot this week. He's definitely on my list. So
yeah, he's the number 1. So all right. So Noto, tell me your favorites.
Yeah, the first time Olave has a big week, I'm going to do so many victory laps. I'm playing this guy every single week. It's so annoying. He gets 10-plus targets every week. Last week, he almost had 100 yards in the first half, then almost got the touchdown, and did nothing the rest of the game. Didn't get the bonus. But we mentioned Rattler's been a little bit better than expected. It's a good matchup, so I'll continue to play Olave. I want one of these Washington guys, Debo and McLaurin, both didn't practice on Thursday, so I don't know if one's active. I think I'll have interest in the other. If they're both out, then maybe we can get like Moore or McCaffrey, one of those guys. But I do want to pair somebody up with my Jaden Daniels shares. As far as Rasheed Rice goes, man, it's tough. He's going to be so high owned. I don't think he's going to be extremely limited, but Andy Reid was kind of hesitant on saying he was going to give him a ton of plays. So I'm kind of just going to be even with the field with Rice. I don't know what to do there, but yeah, don't mind the Quentin Johnson call. I think he's interesting. I like Michael Pittman a little bit. We could see Josh Downs being out. And if he is out, Pittman might see some more slot snaps. I don't know. Wide receiver's kind of ugly to me. I don't have any super strong takes, so I'll let Beer take it from here.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the guys I think are going to be the chalk is going to be Rashee Rice. It's likely going to be Deebo Samuel and Chris Olave. So not going to spend a lot of time on them. I kind of agree with Noto on Rashee. I'll actually probably be a little bit under. Yes, it's a great spot. Yes, it's a great price. I don't think his ownership is showing high enough, to be honest. I think he could get up to 30-some% in that spot. So in tournaments, I think there's different ways you can go. CeeDee Lamb back as well. So that leads me to George Pickens, who's going to go alone this week. Yes, his price, when you look at it with CeeDee Lamb back, saying that's way too much. That's a way to be contrarian, is to pay a little bit more than anyone else wants to pay. He's put some massive games on the board. This is a 54.5, 55-point total. So there is a ton of production to go around for both of these guys. So I think George Pickens a phenomenal tournament option this week. Really like Matthew Golden. His role just continues to grow week by week. Over 100 total yards last week. They got him involved on the ground. They should be able to do whatever they want against this Arizona defense. So I think he's great value this week. One of those, let's get there before he has that big game. So I think that could be this week. Mentioned Quentin Johnston. Think he's a phenomenal play. If he's back in the lineup. Xavier Worthy. If everyone's so excited about Rashee Rice and we haven't seen, the massive game out of Worthy yet. I know you guys like Mahomes. I think that's a great pairing, whether you want to get different or the double stack, include Worthy. That big playability just goes so overlooked. Really like Sutton and Franklin this week against the Giants. I mentioned Bo Nix, one of my favorite tournament quarterbacks. So those guys are great pairings. Luther Burden, another youngster that I think is very viable this week. Even if DJ Moore is back, I think it's only a matter of time before he takes this role from Zacchaeus. And if Moore's out, I think Burden's going to be more and more involved as we move forward. Noto mentioned Indy. I think Alec Pierce, very interesting in this spot as well. Don't know if we can go to Adonai Mitchell yet. We'll see if he's back in the good graces, but I do like Alec Pierce. And then we got to keep an eye on Marvin Harrison. If he's out, you could get some value with guys like Michael Wilson and Zay Jones.
Yep. I love Roma Dunze if the weather checks out there. I also like Romeo Dobbs. I know you just mentioned Golden, but 17 targets over the last 2 games. Easy to watch. I like watching him because I like the big padded helmet. It's easier to pick him out there. And that reminds me, I think RotoGrinders needs to make those big, those huge hats.
Big hats.
Yeah, like how do we not have that for merch? Like that would be great. So just a little idea. Yeah, I like that Worthy call. 6,100 there's a lot of upside there. Someone I like that I think is going to be extremely underowned, low-owned, and I think is a great play is Cortland Sutton. The Giants play man defense, so he's going to have his one-on-ones, which is what he needs, and he certainly can win. And he's only 5,900. I could see him breaking loose for a long touchdown, possibly having a multi-touchdown game. I like the Pittman call. Things could work out better with injury news too for him. And man, that AJ Brown price is just staring me in the face at 5,800.
It was 57 last week, and
I know
a whole lot. So
I know,
the
but
price
it's like
intriguing for sure.
He had 9 targets against the Giants. He didn't have a touchdown. 80 yards. If he had a touchdown, that game's a lot different. That for that price, he's a lot different.
And I think you nailed it on that game. I could see that game being, 13-10, or like both teams get up in the 30s. So certainly very stackable for that upside.
Chat wanted to know if we can play Addison in a mini with Saquon.
For sure.
Yeah. Don't mind it.
He's cheap. He's has upside for sure. Didn't he? He had a
Jefferson.
touchdown He had a touchdown, right? Didn't he?
That was that London their last game.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
he missed some of the beginning of the game and then came back and scored at the end. So yeah, he's cheap, 5,100. It'll be a low-owned pairing, that's for sure.
Mitchell should be on Jefferson.
Yep.
All right. Any other flyers?
Yeah, if Ridley's out, A.O. Manor is going to be interesting. If Darius Slayton's out, Lil Jordan Humphrey, 3,100 on DraftKings, a guy that looked good last week, ran route on 76% of the snaps. Yeah, that's it for me.
And that another revenge narrative. He didn't he start his career in Denver?
Yeah,
or he was there at some point.
And
he was with the Saints, so he may have crossed paths with Sean Payton. But yeah, he looked like what Slayton was supposed to be after the injury. He kind of stepped into that role.
I do love the Golden Call beer. He's a guy that I'm going to be way overweight on. Saw the rookie bump after the bye, which we love to see.
It's nice to see him getting rushing attempts. I love the Dobbs call as well. You know, that team, it's just tough to predict, but I like building different stacks, different combinations. We'll get to Tucker Kraft as well, but and you brought up Sutton, Kirk. I had him on my list as well. I think a Nick Sutton Franklin, double stack makes a ton of sense this week.
Yep. I'm just looking at browsing Pro Football Focus right now for their NFL, their wide receiver matchups right now. They have Diggs and Booty right up there at the top against Tennessee, and that makes me interested in a double stack. Their prices are both fine as long as the New England doesn't go run heavy, which they obviously can do at any point in time and love to do. But if Vrabel really steps on the gas here, that could be a really nice double stack, I think. All right, let's move it on over. Tight end. We have Trey McBride. Looks like he's going to be pretty popular again. 21 fantasy points his last game, 11 targets, 8 receptions, got into the end zone, had a really strong game against the Colts. Mason Taylor is somebody that I like for cheap.
Yep.
I expect him, great matchup against Carolina. They just down Garrett Wilson, and he's already been shown games where he was peppered with, he had 12 targets in that game against Dallas. That one game he had 7 and 6. Before that, he was coming on, had a dud against Denver, but that was just a gross, disgusting game. And this could be a gross, disgusting game too, but he's going to have all the opportunities. So he could just get peppered with targets. Tyler Warren is just the man. Went right down the field on the first. I thought he was going to have a massive day, and I played him, but didn't run out that way. But because he had that first drive touchdown. They are just looking for him in the red zone at all times. Yes, there's Jonathan Taylor. Yes, they have good receiving options, but Tyler Warren is a beast. So tons of red zone equity and getting a lot of opportunity. Kelsey's price at 4,700 kind of pops out to me, but I'll take a pass with Rashee Rice here back. There's just no point. I don't think you need to use him in this spot much anyway. I think you're better off just letting him have an average whatever game, and because they're going to be able to do what they want, I think, and they're going to want to show Rashee Rice off. I don't know. There's lots of others. There's our boy Ferguson. There's Ertz. Who do you like, Beer?
There's a ton of options at this position this week, which normally we don't have. So it's just looking at who is the best play. I think it is McBride, but again, that's going to come with a lot of ownership. I think you're going to see a lot of lineups start with Jaden Daniels, Rashee Rice, Trey McBride, kind of preloaded. So he's a good play. Cash games, I think it's a great play there. Tournaments, I think there's a lot of ways you can go. You mentioned Tyler Warren. Likely no Josh Downs in this game, so that could open up some more things, in the short intermediate of the field for him. So if his ownership isn't too high, I think he's a great play. Our boy Ferguson, he just continues to produce. And once again, we see him at 4% ownership. Now, this week, I understand CeeDee Lamb is back. That's going to drop the ownership. I brought up George Pickens. All of these guys are in play this week. So even with Lamb back, that takes away coverage as well. Yes, he's back, but, there's less focus on guys like Pickens Ferguson. So I don't mind going back to him. I'm glad you brought up Mason Taylor. He was the 6-pack tight end this week. No Garrett Wilson, especially Breece Hall is going to have a ton of ownership. And Josh Reynolds is your wide receiver one. No, Mason Taylor is your best pass catcher there for the Jets. So a great spot for him. I love going cheap with him. The other cheap guy I really like this week is Harold Fannin of Cleveland.
Yeah,
we mentioned the weather. I think that's a benefit for Harold Fannin because they do a lot of creative things with him near the line of scrimmage. So, and Dylan Gabriel loves him some tight ends. I mean, and if Njoku's out, which is a possibility, I think Harold Fannin is an absolute smash this week. So Fannin and Taylor will probably be the two I go to the most. Ferguson in my Dax stacks. I think Tucker Kraft also very interesting here in any Jordan Love stacks or even not. Arizona not been good against the tight end. And then one more name, Michael Mayer, should remain a good value. I prefer Fannin, prefer Mason Taylor, but if Bowers is out, he can be in your pool as well. But Fannin and Taylor going to have a ton of this week.
Yep, love it. What do you like, Noto?
Yeah, I like Fannin, like Taylor. Michael Mayer is my favorite. Brock Bowers is probably going to be out again. It's a game where they're going to be trailing. So he was good last week, 5 for 50 and a touchdown. I mean, they've called him a tight end one even when Bowers is on the field. So I like him. I like Zach Ertz, especially if Debo or Terry McLaurin ends up being out. Easy pairing with Jaden Daniels. So I don't think I'm going to spend up at tight end. I think there's just 4 good value plays under 4K that I like. And yeah, if Njoku's out, then Fannin's just going to become even better play.
Yep. There's a lot of options here. All right. Defense. I don't feel like we have a clear-cut one for cheap this week, so it's going to make things interesting. I think the people are going to like Broncos at home against the Giants, but they're expensive at 3,500. Vikings will probably get some love for kind of cheap, 2,600, just because they're a good overall defense. Eagles, Chiefs. Man, the only cheap, like another cheap one would maybe be Panthers. I don't know. I don't like any of them off because you got to spend for them. All the ones I like, you got to spend for, and I don't really want to spend for. So I don't know. Somebody give me some clarity if you like one.
Yeah, it's going to sound gross, but Vikings at 2,600. So in my first look article, I look at defensive line, pressure rate over expectation, PFF's pass rush grades. Do the same thing for the offensive line. And Vikings #1 in sack potential based on those metrics this week. I mean, Eagles are just letting in a ton of pressure this year. And I don't know. I mean, I do like the potential for this game to shoot out, but I could also see it being an ugly game like Kirk mentioned. So I like them at 2,600. I don't think a lot of people are going to play them. And I just don't want to spend up on a defense. Don't mind like the Panthers, Dolphins, and Titans, but no, not the Titans. New England's going to roll. But so yeah, give me the Vikings.
Yep. Beer, you got a fave?
I got a couple I like the Chiefs if I'm spending. Geno Smith has been a turnover machine. So, their defense has been solid. So I think they're a solid spend. I like both sides of this Browns-Dolphins game, actually. I mean, you got weather, you got bad quarterbacks. So I prefer the Cleveland side. I think Tua's going to have a rough day in that spot. So, but both of them are in play. I agree on the Panthers against the Jets. I think they're a solid play. Their defense has been a little bit improved this year. And I also like the Bears. Again, as much as I like Spencer Rattler, I'm going to say it every week. He's a gambler, man. He's going to try to make plays, and that can lead to turnovers. This Bears D looked good the other night against Washington. I think they're in play, especially if there's some weather in that game. So Bears, Dolphins, Browns, and Panthers on the Chiefs if I'm spending.
Yeah, now that I'm looking, I love that Browns call. And I also like my Pats. Surprise, surprise. All right, let's build a lineup. So I'm going to give you guys a choice because I have 2 I feel strongly about. I want to pick the quarterback this week. I know you guys don't. I want to do either a double with Mahomes or a double with Drake May. And you guys, I don't care which one we do.
I say Drake.
Okay, so let's go Drake, Booty, and Diggs. And I'm going to say no Tennessee run back.
Yeah, I don't think you need a run. I mean, Ao Minor is
Ao Minor,
interesting. If Ridley's there, the running backs, they're
I don't think
kinda
we need 'em.
cannibalizing. No, I don't think you need it either. Especially if they just go in and roll. We don't need Tennessee to do anything. It just New England just goes in and smashes.
So Nodal, first running back pick is all yours.
Let's go. Help from the chat. Let's go Quinshon Judkins and that massive rushing prop.
And I think you pair that with the Browns D.
Boom, love it. All right, which we can play anyone we want. Chalk doesn't matter. Running back here. Who's your favorite beer?
I kind of want some exposure to Washington, Dallas now that we've got some low end pieces. So either Javonte and a Washington pass catcher, but I prefer old Bill and run it back with something on Dallas, whether it's Lamb, Pickens, who I love at low ownership, or even Ferguson.
All right, so pick it.
So let's go Bill and let's go Ferguson. Because I love Fannin, unless we want to go Taylor. Fannin, we already have Judkins in there, so I think Ferguson makes sense. But we'll see what it looks like. We can pivot off of that.
I'm trying to zoom in here so I can see. All right, we need we can pick anyone. We can do a flex or wide receiver.
How much we got?
We have
64. Something that says
64. That's
64,
perfect.
50
we
per spot.
can get two studs in there on this slate. What about you want to do just a grow? No, do we want the passing game on Dallas?
got Fergie.
We got Fergie.
Okay.
Or, I mean, we could plug in Pickens and Mason Taylor and see what that leaves us to.
Yeah, Mason Taylor. Let's just go right. You want to try Lamb or you want Pickens?
I'm good with either. I just think Pickens going to be a fraction of the ownership in tournaments. But Lamb's fine too. We're already low with our New England stack.
Well, like with our combo, you aren't going to see like Pat stacks with like Lamb too much. Too much.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm fine if we rather go Lamb.
I'll leave the spot open, but I will say if you go Pickens instead of Lamb, then you can afford Saquon Barkley at flex.
All right.
Solid.
Sounds good to me.
We got a question about Justin Fields, the 1% ownership. I mean, the dude can get 25 any week.
Yes. I professed my love for him for like 4 to 5 weeks straight, and then I've cooled off for a little bit here. And,
doesn't really need Wilson being out doesn't really affect him that much.
No. And the pairing with Brees helps you eat away some of that Brees ownership. So that is a good way. If you like Brees, we've seen many quarterback running backs get there together, and he's a pass catcher. So yeah, that's a good point. Just don't watch the game. Just at the end, okay, Fields has 27 DraftKings points somehow.
No, I'm in. I should have mentioned him, and I'll definitely have a Fields lineup this week. All right. Call it a wrap for the morning show.
Yep.
Got your son to take care of, Nono? Little daddy watch right now?
So, yeah, I got a little daughter and a son now.
Daughter, son? Yeah. How's
mom's off to physical therapy, so we got to do a little swap real quick. But it's been awesome, man.
All right. Beer, Fantasy Bar. People check out the Fantasy Bar, the 6-pack. It's been crushing. So let's keep it rolling and let's have a good week. Chat, thank you for being here. Sorry again, my apologies. We did this day early. We like to do it with more information, but I think we had a good rundown here. So this has been the RG DFS Tournament Takes podcast, week 7, and we'll be back next week, normal time. Thanks.